Hey YouTube, this is Coach Joel. If you like our videos, please subscribe.
I never made it, but I know what it takes. I'm motivated by a mix of emotion.
Hey, what's up YouTubers? What's up everybody? This is Coach International Master Joel Banawat Resorts again. And this is the continuation of our awesome and epic video on the SCOTCH GAMBIT. Yesterday, we had such a great positive review of our topic and also on what they learned. They learned so much that they actually started gaining like 500 to 1,000 rating. I'm just kidding. They didn't gain 500 to 1,000 rating points, but you know what? It was epic. It was awesome. Huge positive reviews. Thank you guys so much. And today, just like what was promised, we're going to be looking at the sidelines of the SCOTCH GAMBIT that does not include bishop d4 check. Alright, so a quick recap of what we covered last time. Knight f3, knight c6, and then boom, d4, epic move, e takes d4, and after e takes d4, bishop c4, and just like what we talked about, this move is actually not such a gambit. Well, except for when they go bishop b4 check. I did mention that. It is a gambit, but if they try to go for bishop b4 check, it's just not, you know, it's not a great way for black to continue, because black's just gonna have such an epic position out of the middle game. Anyway, guys, I just want to share a story really quick. I just watched the entire match of Firouzja versus Magnus Carlsen in the Banter Blitz championship, and it was such an inspiring match, because chess is not just all about the rating. It is also about who is in the top form, and it looked like the world champion was actually human, which is amazing. So it is very important, guys, to keep in shape, and the world champion was missing some really easy tactics. I mean, I'm a huge Magnus fan. He's my favorite player of all time. I study a lot of his games, but it was just so inspiring to see that, you know, if you work hard and if you keep doing the right things, you will have the opportunity to really shine. So I want to motivate everybody to keep working hard, do your tactics every day, study your Grandmaster games, review your lines, and make sure you get some practice games in every single time. Alright, this is Coach Joel that's talking right now. I've been teaching chess for such a long time, and I like to inspire my students to do well and practice hard. Same for you guys, our viewers, which are all awesome. Okay, we're going to continue with our topic right now. So congratulations to Grandmaster Firouzja for beating Magnus Carlsen. Oh my god, unbelievable. So, we're not going to cover bishop b4 check today, because that's what we did last time. What we're going to be covering today are the different sidelines that they can do besides the move knight f6 and bishop c5. We're going to be covering these in either one video or two separate videos, and we're going to have a complete repertoire against like e4 and e5 stuff. And it doesn't matter if you're playing at the Grandmaster Norm Tournament or International Master Norm Tournament, or if you are playing in a super tournament, we're going to be ready for them. We're going to have lines that are so epic that sometimes we're going to be playing for two results. Alright, you guys ready? We're going to consider the move d6 as probably one of the most solid sidelines here for black. White is just going to get a slightly better position. But I want to look at the move, like, for instance, we have knight a5, queen f6, trying to defend the pawn on d4. We're also going to be looking at g6. Some fans of Grandmaster Mamedurov, they like to play g6 here, but apparently there's a lot of things that's there's a lot of problems for this move, which we will be seeing, and not a lot of people are prepared for this, because simply not a lot of material are covering it, and it's so uncommon that they don't know how to deal against the move g6. If you don't pressure g6 the right way, black is going to be able to equalize without any problemo. Alright, we're going to be looking at bishop e7, which I will have a couple of recommendations against this. Either we just transpose back to the main line with d6, or we're going to go for a trappy line, or more of like a tricky line that we could go for. So, we're going to look at the move knight a5 first, because I think this is like one of the worst ones. He may be able to get this attacking bishop on c4, but guys, it is a violation in the opening to move your piece twice. And after we do queen takes d4, he moved it 3 times to capture a bishop that moved once. Now we have to move our queen twice, And instead of just having one piece development in the opening, having the white pieces, we are up 2. And that's not the only problem for black here. He has to waste time doing d6 first before he can develop his other pieces. Because for instance, if he plays knight f6 here, he's gonna be bombed with the move e5. Boom! And the knight doesn't have any good squares, but to move back to g8. Because if he goes to h5, and this is just a horrible square for the knights, we could trap the knight right now. Okay, so we have g4. This is an epic pattern. We don't even have to spend 5 seconds to note that that is a tactical pattern whenever the knight goes to h5. So they have to waste time going d6. And after d6, guys, our opponent has the 2 bishops advantage. And as you know, the 2 bishops advantage is good in the long term. But what we have, so this is kind of like an imbalance of like different factors that are important in chess. We call this chess imbalances. Alright, minor pieces is one of them. But the strength of our position is the development and the initiative. Because we have more development, what type of course of action should we go for? Alright, if you want to think about it, you can pause this video for about maybe 5 to 10 seconds. Coach Joel just asked me what type or what kind of course of action, when I say course of action, do I build up my position slowly or do I attack quickly if you have the development advantage and you have the pressure? Okay, go ahead and pause it. Think about it. If you have an answer, you can unpause it, and the answer is we have to attack. So we're not going to slowly castle the king side here, develop all our pieces, because if we do that, our opponent will recover so quickly. How quickly is he going to recover? He's going to recover like the Flash, the fastest man alive. Alright? And that guy is super quick, hard to catch. So we have to castle queenside. It's usually a good idea to castle queenside in this type of positions, because once you're castled, you have this nice little pendulum D file, and you can really feel the energy, the pressure. You have to, just like what I said in the previous video that we had, if you have the initiative, you have to keep making threatening moves. Alright, great tip, guys. Remember that. If you have the lead in development and you have the initiative, make threatening moves, make attacking moves. So after bishop e7, this is our attacking idea right now. e5, pressuring this d6 pawn, crushing the middle of the board, the center, and he has to do something fast, like bishop e6. But after bishop e6, we could do whatever we want here with a massive advantage, like queen b5 check. He is pretty much losing the pawn on b7, and if they just castle here, we could pretty much just play like e5 and put tremendous pressure against this pawn on d6 in many different ways. We are more than happy to have the white pieces here. According to the computer, you're like up at least 1.1 advantage for those of you who are computer geeks and just can't live without computer. Although, guys, I mean, honestly, you have to learn how to evaluate the position without the use of the computer, so you could understand if you should enter a certain position or not. All right. Anyway, if they go for knight a5, remember we're just gonna do queen takes d4, make him waste several knight moves to take your bishop. We don't mind, because what we get in return for them having the 2 bishops is what? Development advantage and initiative. So what type of moves are you supposed to make when you have development advantage and the initiative? You have to attack. Alright, so knight a5, cross that out. Not a good move. Not a good move at all. We're going to be looking at the move, let's see, queen f6, another bad move. When your opponent plays queen f6, another violation of opening principle, which is moving the queen out literally too early in the game. And the point is, he's trying to hold on to this pawn, and holding on to that pawn is not a great idea, because keep this in mind, in the Scotch Gambit, if you can play c3 in a timely manner, even if he retains pawn advantage, kind of like in a bishop b4 line, remember this, if you have threats or initiative that you could do as a follow-up, you could go for c3 at some point. But here, when they play queen f6, we're going to focus on rapid development, and we are threatening a certain move now. We're threatening to play e5. Performing this really nice, tricky idea. If we go e5, they take here. Knight takes e5, he takes e5. We are going to win his queen with a skewer. And not only is that a great position, but at the same time, when we get to insert e5, it's harder for him to develop this knight on g7, just like what we will see in the example. If they play d6 here, for example, we have several different great moves here for white, but c3 is definitely one of the best ones. If they take knight takes c3, just like what I said, you can gambit the pawn now if you have threats as a follow-up. They could also try to move bishop g4, but after bishop g4, you could simply play the move queen b3. This is such a strong move. Try to take the pawn, forking the rook and the knight. So if they take here, we take on b7, we're just completely winning. He doesn't have any checkmate trades like this because we're just gonna take all these pieces. And just like what Grandmaster Feingold said, you gotta be careful when taking all your opponent's pieces because you may break your arm taking all their pieces and go to hospital. But in this case, we will be taking all their pieces, and we don't even have to play what the computer says here. The computer said bishop g5 check, which is epically confusing me on why this is a good move. And the point is, after they take here, queen takes c7. This is just some sick tactics we're seeing right now. The action, oh my god, the pain, ow, wow, 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 oh Jesus. All right, that's actually the first time I'm seeing that. But yeah, bishop g4 is also not going to work there. And if they decide to, let's say, just like what I said, the biggest problem is if we get to insert the move e5, is that the knight on g8 is going to have some problems developing. So now we play the move e5, queen g6, rook a1, stopping any types of like pawn breaks. Let's say knight e7, and now we have knight h4. Look at that. This is the problem when you move your queen early. Remember guys, fundamental alert. If you move your queen early out middle on the opening, in the middle game, there's some huge chances of you getting trapped. Beat by boop! Look at that. The queen on g6 is trapped. Where can I go? I can't go nowhere. Alright? That's a big problem. So instead of knight e7, knight h6 is still not that great because the idea of knight h6 is we would play knight h4. He has some queen g4 moves. But after c3, this is an example of when c3 is perfect when you have threats. For example, if they go there, we have the threat of playing bishop d3 now. And if they play queen h5, we have knight to e4 with the idea of knight g3 trapping the queen again. This is the dangers of getting your queen out early in the game, guys. And if they play queen e6, you already have some epic tactics like bishop takes h7, regaining the pawn back with great position, better pieces, but better space, and also we have the pressure. He has a terrible knight in the h6 square. And so after takes, king takes h7, they can't really recapture because we have knight g5 check 40. We could also play knight e4 followed by knight g5. We have a lot of good moves here. Alright, so this queen f6 move can't be regarded as a possible fight. And I could tell you guys that several of your opponents may play this trying to hold on to this pawn. But a lot of us, these sidelines are rarely covered in any material. So I consider myself lucky to be able to review this and create this video for you guys. It's all for you guys. And from now on, you're going to be the master of sidelines and the Scotch Gambit. And one thing that I sometimes even consider playing as black is playing the move g6 because of the inspiration that I got from Grandmaster Shakti Mamedyarov. He is an amazing man, an amazing player, very creative and a tactician, great blitz player. I've heard some really scary stories of him giving Grandmasters time mods 5 to 30 seconds, and he would still whoop them. Amazing, like amazing blitz players. And these Grandmasters that I know are also amazing players. Although, yeah, this move is not going to work here because, can you guys try to pause the video for a sec here and see if you could apply one of our Scotch Gambit themes that we've already seen in the video. Alright, pause it for like 5 to 10 seconds, and if you're ready, if you figure it out, go ahead and play the video. Alright? Okay, if you're ready, you could unpause it. And we're going to look at the solution now. The correct move and the powerful move is c3. Boom! This is actually better for white. Very strong move. Oh my goodness. The point is, if they play bishop g7, we're going to have a massive twin towers in the center of the board. Usually it's not advisable for black to lose this pawn on d5 if they don't have control over the center. If we could have two pawns in the center of the board. Usually it's good if the knight has to capture on d4 but not a pawn. It's pretty decent for black. Now, at this point though, after c3, again, if they play that, we have a tremendous initiative now. We could play d5 and just like really cramp up his position. We have a great position here. But a good challenging move is d takes c3. But guys, this position is just not good. We have this key idea, queen b3, the killer square that we've been talking about all series long. And he will struggle here. He has to find a nice idea, a nice move. Taking here would be a total the Swiss title move because now we're attacking f7, we're attacking this square, and we're going to be able to regain one of the pawns back with a crushing attack. he's going to lose his casting ability and perhaps lose more material. According to the computer, the engine, we are already up by 3 points, despite being down 2 points. Imagine that, down 2 points, up 3. That's a huge 5-point turnaround. So a good attempt would be to do something like Queen E7. There's a move like Knight H6, we already know what to do, right? You could just take this guy and take an F7, or you could just castle here, as what the engine recommends. Oh my god, the engine is like master. Really revolutionized the way we study openings, and you just gotta wait for him to develop the bishop first, and now we're gonna chow on that pawn on c3, and we are completely crushing. We have the better position, better king, better pawn structure, and better pieces. And why do we say we have better pawn structure? Because he has a lot of holes in the position, and well, that's what we call yeah, we're just gonna call it holes. I've called it different things. In New York, they call it Swiss cheese. I call it mushrooms, or I don't know. We're just gonna call it a hole. At some point, we're gonna, you know, if we find the fitting name, we're gonna name it something. Marshmallow, marshmallow. Okay, so the G6 move is almost refuted by the move C3. C3 move is so powerful. So that's also not an issue. I think the two most solid lines for black in terms of the sidelines are both bishop e7 or d6. Okay, we're gonna look at the move bishop e7. In my opinion, d6 is probably one of the most solid ones, but we're fine with that. We're gonna have a nice advantage against that, space and all. But after bishop e7, I'm gonna show you guys a couple of ways to deal with this. If you would like to be tricky, the move c3 is very strong here. The point is, if they take on c3 now, we have this, okay? We have this epic tactical idea that we saw in the previous video. Alright, if you haven't seen the previous video, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and watch it now so you can see the thing. Alright, pause the video for 5 to 10 seconds and see if you can figure out the correct tactic. Alright, go ahead, pause it. And if you're ready, you can go ahead and play it. Alright, if your answer is Queen d5, boom, you're absolutely correct. And this is what I was talking about in the video from the previous, the first one, the intro. If they play knight h6, and we have this move, bishop takes h6, threatening checkmate on f7, we're not going to be able to keep the piece here, to be honest, guys. We have to give the piece back, because there's a pawn here. There's a huge difference. All they have to do is castle now, and if you try to save this bishop and defend this pawn with bishop c1 at the same time, your opponent has this wonderful trap here with knight b4, and he's threatening both the queen and the c2 square, which right now the only thing that we could do to defend both is queen d1, but he has this epic tactical idea with a fork with c2, and he's regained the piece back. He's gonna be up a pawn who's very solid here. We don't have any compensation. We're not even up development here, sadly. Sad face. So if this happens, if they castle here, you have a couple of ways to continue. You can either take the pawn on c3 now with a knight, or I prefer not to be down a pawn. So, epic move. You take the pawn on g7, you're defending the b2 square, and after king g7, knight takes c3, and we have a fantastic position. We have more space, we have the better pawn structure and better king. It's probably at least +1 advantage for white here. Very easy and very nice position to play for white. And talking about the evaluation of the situation, our advantages are all long-term. Pawn structure long-term, better pieces, well, you could say half and half, like chow mein and rice. And the third one is, well, space is also long-term. So you just gotta, what you gotta do, fundamentally, is that if you have these long-term advantages, is to make sure that you control the position and don't let your opponent gain space or gain massive counterplay. Alright? Very important middle game lesson, guys. Keep that in mind. However, the thing is with c3 is, surprisingly, there is this powerful move, knight a5, which I think black is okay. Not a lot of people know this, so I could still highly recommend for you guys to play c3. But this move is epic. After knight a5, this is a little different because we wasted time moving a pawn on c3 compared to the other line. So we're not going to be able to play our idea earlier from the early knight a5 version. Here's a pawn on c3. Now black is completely fine here. The best continuation that I could find was, actually I couldn't find any satisfactory. I think I found like bishop e2, and you get this continuation, which is quite decent. But black is okay here after castling. If you guys like this, you could still go ahead and play it. And after queen to e8, we have like bishop b5, bishop d7. Um, Bishop d7 would be good for us, but they have this epic move now, a6. And after bishop takes c6, we take c6. And if we try to get this pawn on c6, they can just play bishop d6. They're completely fine here. I don't think your opponents are going to play like that, but that's why I'm going to recommend a couple of recommendations so that we're not just playing for cheapo. Remember what I told you guys in the previous video, we're not doing cheapos here. We're doing the right way. Okay. So after bishop e7, the other recommendation that I have is the move knight takes d4, which is most likely going to transpose to the d6 line, which we will be looking at next after knight f6, knight c3, and now they castle, and then they play d6. We're going to get this epic position, which I think we already got a slightly better position long term. Again, just like what I've told you guys about the balances of chess, long-term advantages should be controlled, should be long-term, should be built up, and really, main thing is to control the position, not to allow massive comebacks from you. Don't make it so tactical. All right. So going back, that's something that you could do against bishop e7 if you just want to avoid getting to that complication with the knight a5 move. But yeah, after bishop c4, they play d6. We're gonna do the same thing. We just take on d4, knight f6. Knight c3, I'm not a big fan of taking the knight on c6 ever, because, fundamental alert guys, if you have more space, you want to avoid making trades that will allow your opponent to gain some sort of like benefit from it. And you know, double pawns are not exactly that terrible in the middle game, because when your opponent gets double pawns, when you get double pawns, what you want to get out of that is the open file. He's gonna get this b file for the rook, which could be naggy. Actually, it's a nagging pressure. I'm not a big fan of that. So what we want to do is we just want to develop normally, and the bishop goes to f4. This is one of the main misunderstood concepts in this structure. Why is the bishop supposed to go to f4? And the answer is that the bishop on f4, at some point, we expect your opponent to perform his pawn breaks. Remember in the last lesson that we had, previous video, I told you guys that if you don't know what to do, you should look for your pawn break. We're going to do the exact same thing here. Black's pawn break is d5, so by having the bishop on f4, you are kind of discouraging him to play d5 because it will really make your bishop look like a total Godzilla or monster in this position, which is an epic square for your bishop. And you don't really have to go any further here. I'll just tell you guys what the main plans are. What you want to do, again, in this position we have more space, we have better pieces, and these are long-term advantages. What you want to do is just slowly build up your position. Don't go for any rush attacks. For example, what you could do is you could play like rook e1, h3, just moving potential counterplay. If your opponent plays a6, you just want to control it, stop him from expanding because you have the space advantage, and don't go crazy with your exchanges. What you want to do here is you want to play like queen d2, rook d1, centralize everything. And then what are our pawn breaks here, guys? You could either prepare the c5 pawn break, or probably a much easier pawn break is to prepare bishop, for example, h2, and going for f4, and then timely playing e5. That's another idea. But another thing about players with less space, they have to do something. And I've seen it happen a lot, guys. What they do is sometimes, for example, if they play like, okay, in this position, bishop d7, we can play like rook e1, and then let's say rook e8. They try to do this Nimzovich idea when, you know, they say that if you don't have a pawn on e5, you want to play this maneuver. We could play like h3 here, and then let's say bishop f8, and we could control the position some more. Let's say queen d2 and a6. We just a4, and let's say they play g6, and after they play g6, you could play like knight f3, rook d1, like this. And then if you're ready for this pawn break where all your pieces are active, you can go ahead and do that. Just an example. Sometimes you could prepare your pawn break as well with f4. One thing that I could say about Black's position, it's very solid. But yeah, another error that they tend to do in these positions is that they like to play knight e5, and then after knight e5, bishop f1. I like this. I don't like getting hit by this c5 push with my bishop being on b3, potentially trapping my bishop. But the problem is every pawn move creates a weakness, and when they do this, they advance the pawn twice, and that means they weaken two different squares. Usually it's the square that's next to the pawn, but since he moved it twice, he weakened these 4 different squares. So Now the move knight f5 should be able to exploit and pressure this backward pawn. And also keep this in mind, guys. The square in front of a weak pawn is also weak, so we want to dominate this position. This guy is going to be one of our main targets now. So what you want to do is you want to form a battery and pressure towards that pawn, because it's not going to be able to be defended by another pawn, and there's a huge tendency that you could win that. If they try to take on f5 now, you got 2 bishop advantage, and still this guy is quite weak. We have a very nice position, both long term and short term here. You could even sometimes move your bishop to g5, eliminate this guy, and dominate this square on d5. But overall, this position is not a dream position for black. So most likely, if they got to this position, they're just trying to get out of theory, or they don't want to enter your prep. So overall, the sidelines, guys, I think this is the most solid one, and the computer gives us a whooping like 0.7 advantage, so almost like +1 advantage for white. So please remember everything that I mentioned here in terms of like the middle game plans and understanding of the middle game imbalances. And if you keep that in mind and keep that into account, that you have to build up slowly and not allowed to get your opponents to get some sort of crazy counterplay, you're gonna have a fantastic game. You will be very successful no matter what your opponent's rating is. Alright, and that's all, folks, for the sidelines of the Scotch Gambit. If you liked that video, please don't forget to subscribe. I really enjoyed your presence, guys. You know, it's just me right now. I can feel that vibration that you guys are very happy to see this series, because I am, and I'm very excited to get this out of the out there in the world, because I was actually looking for Scotch Gambit's videos out there. In the culture for the Scotch Gambit, one of the most underrated openings is just insanely low. It's almost none. Okay, alright guys, if you guys liked that video, again, I'll ask you guys to please like and subscribe. And if you have any friends that would like to learn how to beat the e5 opening, or if you just like playing against e5 opening, we're gonna out the next main lines now, which are the most critical ones for the Scotch Gambit. Alright, thank you guys for watching, and goodbye.